Hello everyone. A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of Daily Stock, we are going to take a look on the Costco Wholesale's earnings for the latest quarter, the second quarter of fiscal year 2024, which were released just a couple of days back. And since then, the Costco Wholesale has seemingly lost 10% of its valuation. But if we take a deeper look on the earnings, you will see that there is not so much of a negative aspect to it. The earnings have been quite resilient in face of the tougher environment in which it operates, and the forward guidance is also optimistic with single-digit growth expected in the fiscal year. So all this points to the looming opportunity in coming weeks, coming months. If you are a investor trader from the long term to medium term view, maybe the short term is now bearish, but if we give it enough time, we are likely to find ample opportunities to trade and invest in coming weeks, coming months in the Costco wholesale stock. So first thing first, we will consider its fundamentals to see how the company has exactly done and what are its future prospects for the coming quarters of this fiscal year. The sales have increased for the quarter 5.7%, and for the half year, for the 24 weeks also, there is growth of 5.9%. So on both these metrics, the earning growth is there. This is the statement of income, and in it you can see that in year-on-year terms, the growth has been quite good. As I said, more than 5% growth is there in the revenue, and the company has been able to keep its operating expenses nearly on the same level. There is slight improvement in the operating margin. It is not too pronounced, but there is slight betterment in the operating margin, and that has meant that the net income is higher by more than 10 percentage point for the quarter in year-on-year terms, and for the 22 weeks period, the net income is showing also better growth. It is more than 15 percentage point higher, and the revenues are not that high. The revenues are around 6 percentage point higher. So that simply points to the company being able to cut its cost wherever possible and improving its operating margin. So the company seems to be getting leaner and meaner in its operations. So this is a key positive takeaway from the earnings report, where we are seeing the top line as well as bottom line growth for the company in the recent quarter, and the forward guidance is of similar lines. We are not expecting strong growth. The growth is likely to remain in the low single digits, but growth is growth, and the Costco is likely to continue to gain share and keep expanding its operations. It is mainly based in the North American market, that is the major market for it, but it has also started and it is already a established player in many of the European countries as well. Though in the Asia region, its presence is rather limited. It has a couple of stores in some developed countries like Japan, Taiwan, Australia, etc. But its presence is of limited size. Now, if we see how it generated cash and where it spent, you can see that there has been decline of cash and cash equivalents for the year. It is now sitting on the cash pile of $9 billion in comparison to the 13.7 billion it had at the start of the year. And we have to see where all this cash went, and that is answered by these cash dividend payments, in which the company spent $8 billion. So that was a hefty dividend announcement, which simply means that the shareholders are getting the money back, shareholders are being paid handsomely, and that is one simple reason why the company's cash pile is lower. So the company has decided to reward its shareholders for their belief, their trust in the company's future. If we look at the investing activity cash flow, it is slightly on the lower side in comparison to the prior year, and cash generated by the operations, it is also on a slightly lower side in comparison to the last year. All right, now we head to see how the company's share price has been doing in the recent sessions. This is the hourly candlestick chart of the Costco Wholesale, and you can see immediately after the announcement of its quarterly results, the share price has dropped from around 780 to 710, and that means it has lost around 10% of its valuation. But I feel that this is not something to worry about much. We are likely to see the recovery in coming weeks, because if we consider the medium term prospects, it is still making these higher highs and higher lows, and it is likely to remain on this bullish trajectory, because as we have already seen the earnings report, it is not showing any major signs of weakness in the business operations of the Costco Wholesale. For the short term, the trajectory has seemingly changed, so unless it makes a fresh higher high and higher low, we can't really say that it is a prudent idea to go for a long trade. But for the next couple of sessions, if it consolidates, if it stabilizes and doesn't really rise much beyond the gap down opening level of around 750 760, we can be fairly assured of further decline in that case. So keep an eye on the price formation over next couple of sessions. Maybe by the end of the ongoing week we will have a good idea of how things are likely to turn out for the Costco Wholesale in near future. And as I said, this gap down opening level is going to be key price point for us to determine the course of action over next few sessions. So watch out for how the price formation takes shape over the remaining part of this week, and accordingly, as I said, if it holds below it and consolidates, then in course of time it will make a fresh low with this formation of lower low and lower high coming in place. Now coming to the medium term trajectory, the medium term formation is still bullish, as we have this higher high, higher low formation in place, and over next few weeks we will have to see if it doesn't really decline below this immediate low, and if it does that, maybe after consolidation we can even think about going for a long trade. But I feel that we are not really likely to get a long trade from the medium term perspective also for at least couple of months, because this decline is uh, is still in its early phase. So first we have to see where it is going to go, how far it might decline, and after only consolidation, prolonged consolidation at that, we can make a fresh bet for the possibility of move higher if it starts to show the signs of rising again. But till then, we will have to simply sit on the sidelines. And as I said, the formation is bullish. That means we simply have to rule out the short sale from the medium term perspective as well. So it is kind of a no trading zone for the medium term. For the long term, the formation is not really very different. It is of higher high and higher low. That simply means it is bullish, but it is also just starting to roll lower from its recent peak of 786. That puts it in similar zone like what we assessed for the medium term. And keeping that in mind here also, it is not likely to provide any trading and investing opportunity for a couple of months at the minimum, and after it declines and consolidates, and if it holds the ground and doesn't really decline much below these prior swing high of 611, we can make a fresh bet for the possibility of it starting to rise again. But till then, we will have to hold our horses and simply sit on the sidelines, just the way we did for medium term. And in due course of time, the opportunity is likely to come knocking on our doors if we are waiting there. So that's my assessment of the price formation and the fundamental business developments for the Costco Wholesale, where it is on a positive trajectory. The revenues are rising, the net income is rising, the operating margin is getting better. The company is also paying its shareholders handsomely, and that is also reflected in its share price trajectory over last couple of quarters. Now it is maybe the time for some correction, as it had reached a new peak, and after these things stabilize and consolidate, maybe a fresh move on the higher side might begin. But that is some distance away, so we will have to wait for a while now. Now it's time for me to also wrap up the session and sign off for the day. If you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback, and I'll be more than happy to take the discussion forward. If you have found the information useful and informative for your trading and investment decision, do like and subscribe to the channel. You will have equally informative sessions every day. Now I'm saying goodbye. See you next time.